again. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Coffee Chat Show, and I am going to get to the right screen so I can stop sharing. There we go. Hi, my name is Sondra, and I have the privilege of hosting the Coffee Shop Show with amazing, amazing people from Explore ProTech. Hi to everybody on YouTube. It is a live show. I will be interacting with you in the comments. So make sure you say hi and let me know you're there. Welcome to Unite students. I think they're on their last week. This is their last week. 2 more weeks. Okay. I don't want them to go, so that's fine. Cool. Awesome. Love it. Today we're talking about growing. We're talking, so we're going to start talking about scaling and how to scale your business. And today we have brought in the amazing Mr. Gareth to talk about growth hacking techniques for startups. Hi, Gareth. How are you?
Hi, Sondra. Yeah, I'm great. Excited to talk about this because I have a lot of experience in it. So
yes, you do.
A lot of misconceptions on the topic as well. So it'd be pretty cool to maybe tackle some questions.
Sure. Why don't you give us a short intro or a short overview? Yeah, a short overview, like 3 to 5 minutes on the topic.
Yeah, the topic, I mean, so when you're looking at that makes it very different, right? Growth hacking for an established business is very different. And the main difference there is the requirement for agility, right? So as a startup, you need to be able to adapt, So you want to do a lot of testing. You're in a position where you can throw strategies at the wall to see what sticks. So you really want to look at if you can create viral content. You want to look at what kind of marketing strategies are going to be working for you. What kind of SEO do you need to have in place? And because you're a startup, you have the privilege of being able to just change the features that you have in your services. You don't have a large client base that rely on a certain amount of features that you offer. So you can change your features and see what your audience likes, what they don't like, what's going to make you grow quicker. So that's something that's very powerful. And also, it's a time to grow communities. It's a time where you need to rely on the people around you to succeed. When you're doing your testing, your A/B testing, whether that's on social media, whether that's blogging, building a website, having a community of people that can go and give you constructive feedback from, I guess from a friendly standpoint, right? So you don't want anyone that has ill intention towards you, which a lot of the internet does. But if you have a community of people that want the best for you, then having them help you do that testing is invaluable, right? So yeah, I would say when it comes to growth hacks for startups, those are really the areas that you want to focus on, and just really pay attention to your ability to adapt. Don't get stuck on a single idea and think that that's your end goal, because a lot of the times you're going to start a company, and the end goal is going to change as you discover what the needs actually are, and where your assumptions maybe fell short when you were trying to establish yourself. So yeah, that's where I'd say the main things are.
I love that. I love that. And I talk about that when I do goal setting, is that the end goal is not the end all. Like it can change. It's going to change. Your action plan is going to change. If you don't change, then you're not going to probably not reach your goal because you aren't applying the lessons, for sure. With the A/B testing, can you kind of explain what that is? Like, is that like you do different versions of a post or different versions of a blog? Like, that part
Yeah.
always confuses me. Is that
Yeah, so A/B testing it's exactly what you just said. You want to test different titles for your blogs or for your posts. You want to test different ways of speaking to your audience. Try a different theme. Try a different kind of voice, where instead of being super formal, you could try being a bit more creative. And you'd want to see what the performance of those two different posts are like. Does your audience respond to something that's more formal, or do they respond to something that's more relatable? And then if even at that stage, you want to then A/B test further, right? So you would see what kind of, let's say, relatable content do they like? Something more on the silly side, or something that's more on a more dramatic side? And so yeah, so you would basically test two conflicting ideas that might attract the attention of two different audiences, and see which one applies to your business. Yeah, and that applies for almost any kind of content you put out. It doesn't have to be just social media. It can be your emails, it could be your blogs, it could be even just the words you're using on a website or any landing page that you have. You can change the title of your landing page, or change the description of your services, and see if that changes the way it's received. And it's the time to do it. You really can do that at any point, and should. And also the metrics. Sorry, the last thing I wanted to add there is just to keep statistics on what the differences are there is very, very important. You can never forget to track it. Otherwise, you're guessing 100% of the time. Yeah.
For sure. Numbers don't lie. It's
No,
just
they
plain
don't.
and simple. They don't lie. I
We
mean,
might
I guess
not
people
like
can
it,
fudge.
but
They
yeah.
people can fudge them, but as far as tracking stuff, numbers don't lie. Come on in, Peter.
Well, speaking from the perspective of somebody that actually guessed a lot, and that's exactly what I did. I guessed a lot, and I think I want to maybe not so much make a statement, but turn it more into a question. When we start up as entrepreneurs, we have to figure out what works and how it works, and obviously that's where your testing comes in. But the question would be, how important is it to have built a space or a community space, or have community support during your testing phase? Because I know that the testing phase never ends, because things always consistently change. So we as entrepreneurs are consistently testing things, testing our language, testing different methods of approaching something. How valuable is the support of those around you during those testing phases? That would be my question.
I mean that's it. Like, it's invaluable. I don't think that there's anything more powerful than having a community that actually cares around you during that phase. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of tears, just because you're not relying on. Well, if you don't have a community, then what you're relying on is the people that can find you on the internet organically, let's say. And then you don't know what kind of people they are, what kind of backgrounds they're from. So you don't have a good idea of if the feedback they're giving you is coming from a good place, or if the feedback is even constructive. If you follow that feedback, it may not be great, because you don't really have a way to talk back and forth and discuss why something might be a problem or why something might work Whereas if you have a community of people that you can easily access and talk to and test things on, you know that they want what's best for you. They want what's best for you. If you succeed, they succeed. So there's some, mutual success there in terms of the community, at least. And so, yeah, I would say that having a community of people is probably the best thing you can do. I know for my own business, it was invaluable. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yes, community that wants to support and watch you grow. I think that's the key word. They want to help you grow. Not,
Yeah.
I mean, there's communities, there's a gazillion communities. I've been exploring some communities lately, and I'm just like, yeah, that vibe doesn't work with me. Or what are you about growth, and how do you help each other grow? There's some key questions I've been using lately, because I'm like, I don't want to join a community just to be in a community. I want a community that's going to help me grow, like Explore ProTech, of course. Awesome.
A really good resource that you guys might want to look into as well is a platform called Alignable, which is a platform that's almost like LinkedIn, but it's more about community. It's more about helping people. You're not allowed, you won't find promotions or anything on that platform. It's really about people trying to grow. So very similar to what we have here in Explore ProTech. Obviously, Explore ProTech is going to be leagues ahead of that because you have personal one-on-one interaction with the people. But that's another resource that's very, very handy.
Yeah, I've heard of that one, and I know my bookkeeper, she loves it, like, because she can go to local meetups and then also meet people all over the world. Love that, love that. Mr. Lizeche.
You're getting very close, very, very close, which is great. Thank you, Sondra. And yes, Gareth, thank you so much for being a specialist on this topic, because it's actually needed, especially when you're starting your own business. And I can blame you on the logo that I have because of being part of the community. Part of Explore ProTech, which is a great community to belong to. And you just have people that are looking out for you. You just have people that are interested in your growth, and not like saying, let's just see where he ends. Because some of us might be doing this. I mean, how many of us in here are business coaches? But there's no stepping on anybody's toes. We help each other like that. So the importance of the community, and the right community for that matter, is very, very vital. Just to give an example, I heard of some guy who was in an accident and he got RAF money. And instead of using the money for his own pleasantries and pleasures, he used the money to dig a borehole for his community. Now, what is he doing? He's supplying his community with much needed water. His community is supporting him because they don't have now to travel with buckets and drums and all that to get water from wherever. They can just get water from him. And what does he do? He also delivers. So his business will keep on growing. So, Gareth, you mentioned something like SEO, and I know you are one of the specialists when it comes to SEOs. Just to help me again in my mind, what do you mean by SEO? Because, yeah, it just goes.
No, of course, yeah. It's a technical. It is a technical field, SEO. So generally, you would want a specialist if you are going to be looking at getting SEO optimized. But what it is search engine optimization. Generally, when you talk about that, you're talking about being able to be discovered on Google. But it can also apply to TikTok, to social media in general, and also the other search engines. Anything that has a search engine, your search engine optimization needs to be applied. So, yeah, so when you're looking at SEO-driven blogging, for example, instead of just choosing a topic that is any topic off the top of your head, you would choose something that's targeted towards what your audience, the questions that your audience is already asking, right? So if someone would ask, for example, what is SEO? I could write a blog on that explaining what SEO is because it answers their question. And then that means that if the content is relevant to what they're asking, then Google is going to prefer my blog over someone else's if their content is not relevant to what they're asking, right? So when someone searches in Google, what is SEO? My blog would show up because I've built it in such a way that it answers that question in a way that people are satisfied. Yeah.
Finding the mute button. Love that. Love that. I love the simple version. I think sometimes we talk in terms that do go over people's heads. So thank you for breaking that down. Peter, come back in.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the beginning of Explore ProTech, before the community existed, and before the community existed, it's like swinging a cat in a room. There's certain things that you know, and there's certain things that you don't know, and there's certain things that you don't know but you need to know. And when we first started this space, some of the original coffee shop conversation show chats was based on inviting specialists from around the world that were specialists within their field to come and have conversations on the show, not only because we wanted to talk about that topic or the topic was relevant, but because we wanted to know. So we were basically inviting specialists that could add to our space and potentially join a community and then represent that particular topic or represent that space. But as the community started to grow, I started seeing the community as more of the hack in regards to growth than anything else. So was it intentional? No, I was still swinging the cat around the room. What happened to be created was something beautiful, and it was an incredible community. But at the same time, there's so many different types of people on the face of the planet. And some people fit into the space and some people do not. And that's absolutely, absolutely fine. There are hundreds and hundreds of communities out there. I don't want to create a space where I'm presenting Explore ProTech, the community, as the solution, because it might be a solution to some, but it might not be a solution to others, because we all behave differently and we all want to experience the world in different ways. So if you're out there and you're looking for a community, come and test the space. If it's not for you, I guarantee you that there will be a community that is. It's just about finding it. I think that would be my idea of a hack, would be find the community that works for you. And sometimes it's multiple. Sometimes, sometimes it's more than one. Sometimes it's one. It depends on who you are and where you're at. So I don't want to present like we're the be all and end all of networking and community building. We're just great at what we do for the people that fit into our space. So find what works for you and then experience the hack for yourself. I think that would be the key. But find your space. And when you find your space, you'll find your groove.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Peter. I think that was one of the things was just even the slogan of relationship first, coffee first, business later. And the dating the tribe, like the process you guys had was very unique. And I was just like, well, what do you mean you're not going to just let me pay the money and sign up? Like, you're like, nope, doesn't work that way. So I felt like, the process was more inviting versus like, okay, just go pay my fee. And, if I show up, I show up. If I don't, I don't. And, people come looking for me or people check in or when my grandbabies were born, it was a celebration of, how that was. And we're family. I mean, I honestly feel that way about the tribe. But also when I do quarterly reviews with people, review your communities. Communities change. Communities grow, don't grow. Your needs change, your goals change. So review that and make sure that even if you're not paying for it or you're paying for it, make sure it still fits because you don't want to have that get in your way of growing. I had a community where, that happened. And then it did eventually close because people were not happy with the turn of events in the community. So it does happen. So make sure you're reviewing those quarterly, especially if you're paying for them. Make sure you know what you're paying for and if you're getting anything out of it. If you haven't visited the community in 6 months and you've been paying every month, seriously, why do you need Why are you still in the community? Why are you wasting your money? So for sure. Miss Megan, good evening.
Good evening. Hello, Sondra. Hi, everyone. Good to be here with you. So I think from my perspective, one of the biggest growth hacks that I've applied in my space was something I learned here at Explore ProTech was the energy exchanges. I mean, before my business started in 2020, I had no clue about this. And it's essentially just relying on one another, businesses or peers that are on the same level as you in terms of your startup, and being able to offer each other support systems in terms of your expertise traded for another's, right? And so there's no monetary exchange at the beginning, and you just basically say, I'm a writer, you are an accountant, let's just like trade a month of services, and we settle on something and we support each other in that way. And I think for me, I still wonder if my business would actually have gotten off the ground had I not had that option at the very beginning in my first and second year of stepping into this space. And then I also wanted to put something through to Gareth. So, we are busy with the Igniters, finishing off the program at the moment. And in terms, for me now, I'm in 4.5 years into my business. For me, this year is the big year that I've really discovered accountability partnership in its best sense. I've had some of them before, swimming in and out of those relationships, but for me this year, accountability partnerships has been huge and really just kept me towing the line and really putting things in place, right? Because sometimes I felt like I was building my business from the windows in the roof down. And, sometimes that's normal too. But what I want to find out from you, Gareth, in terms of your growth hacking, I would say systems and processes as soon as possible, get those in place. And then, and I'm sure Sandra is going, yes. And then coaches, mentors, and accountability partners. For me, I think if I look back now, those are probably some of the biggest things that help me move forward. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. I think so. To go first on the accountability side, having someone that can hold you accountable for just having someone that you can report to on the progress that you've done, even just that is a huge help. Just having someone that you would be letting down. I know it's a terrible way to say it, but you'd be letting them down. And a lot of the time, even just that is a motivator to make sure that you complete the things that you say you're going to do. Because when you're doing it for yourself, it's very easy to say, this is hard, because it's not an easy thing to start a business. You're going to fail a lot, and it's very easy to just say, this is not worth it anymore. But having someone that can, make sure you don't miss your deadlines, make sure that you're actually being active every day and completing the tasks you complete every day is something that's also, and I'm using the word a lot, but it is invaluable. And whether that's just a community member or you're paying someone to do it, I think either way it's worth it. Definitely worth it to have that. Just accountability in general is amazing. And then systems as well, having your systems in place. Obviously, those systems can change and will change and evolve. You should, especially in the beginning, at least once a month, be making sure that those systems are still pushing you forward rather than holding you back. Because something that you're doing right in the beginning, the quicker you grow, the more the systems are going to need to change to keep up with the growth. So review the systems. You want them in place, but you need to review them as often as needed. Even if you're doing it every week, as soon as you think it needs an update, review it and see and implement it. Again, this is the time for testing. And if you're not testing, then you're probably going slower than you could be. So, absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Betty.
Cool.
I love that, Gareth. And the same thing with systems as systems grow. Some systems grow, some systems don't grow. Sometimes you outgrow the system, but if you're not how many times you signed up for the updates and you don't read the emails? Just me? Kelsey, she sends out emails every week. And I was like, does it do this? And she'd be like, yeah, that was in email 4 weeks ago. And I'll be like, oops, sorry. She doesn't mind answering questions, thankfully, for Jira marketing. But yeah, she sends out weekly emails and I'm like, I really should start looking at this. because the platforms are always growing. And then if you know people on the inside, ask questions. I asked her, does it do this function? She goes, no, but let me look, because we have a list of things that we're going to start in the next 60 days. And sure enough, it was one of the functions down the road that's going to start. And I'm like, okay, please remind me when it's done so that I remember to go back to that. So if you know people on the inside, that's always very helpful. But yeah, check the platform, make sure has it grown, or maybe your free version got changed because they grew and now they have 3 tiers, and your free version gives you very little and you might have to pay or go find something else. So very, very important to do. And yeah, I like monthly. If you cannot do it monthly, do it quarterly at the bare bone minimum, because again, you also don't want to be wasting your money. I was paying for a email company and I was like, this is crazy. I don't use it enough to do this. This is not working for me. And things like that. So yeah, make sure you review for sure. Peter, come on in and I'll take some questions from the live audience.
Awesome. Yeah, I think just in regards to the accountability growth hack, there is something extremely valuable about having somebody that's holding you accountable, or that you allow to hold you accountable. I think let's there is an element of, you create a space where you are pushing yourself to grow. It's not about somebody else pushing you, it's about you pushing yourself. But you have that person that is there, that is going to hold you to that account that you're holding yourself to. But when it's just you on your own, it becomes very difficult, because we as humans seem to make up the best of excuses in regards to not holding ourselves accountable. But the moment you add somebody else into that picture, and you actually give them not the authority, but you give them the right to hold you accountable, it just creates that space where you can achieve so much more, because you're now driven to actually do that. But then I want to also flip it around a little bit. What we've been talking about in regards to the accountability hack, in regards to growth, has been around the business aspect of what are you trying to achieve in business. But then we take a look at ourselves as entrepreneurs and who we are and where we're at and our lifestyles, and are we doing well? Are we battling? Are we struggling with life? Are we struggling with finances? Are we struggling with... And those are things that everybody battles with. We all at one point in time battle with finances or personal issues or whatever it is. So I'd kind of like to add the accountability growth hack to more of the personal side of each individual entrepreneur. Because if we do not surround ourselves with those people that can go, you know what, it's absolutely fine, you're going to be okay. Or actually, you know what you're battling with, I've been there before. And it creates that space of, you're not permanently beating yourself for not achieving the things that you've set out to achieve. But it's not just about being supported in business or being held accountable for your business decisions or your progress. It's about you as an individual. And sometimes you have different people for different aspects of the support that you need. I know for a fact that if I was having a really, really terrible day and things were just not going well, and I felt the need that I needed to moan and complain, then I could quite easily reach out to Megan and be like, oh my God, Megan, this is just going so wrong. And she would have some advice for me, but at the same time, she's somebody that I can speak to. So, you got to find that balance, because it's not just about your business growth, because you will burn yourself out if you are just driving for business growth. It's got to be you grow, and because you grow, your business grows too. So don't exclude yourself from the equation. Surround yourself with people that, yes, they're part of your growth hack. Yes, they're part of your support system, but the support is more than just the business. Just thought I'd put that out there.
I love that. Just why I coach both sides. Because if your life is a mess, your business will be a mess. If your business is a mess, it affects your life. I mean, let's be honest, it affects your life, whether it's your bottom line, whether it's your mental health. your health, your physical health, it does affect that. So that is why when I started coaching, I wanted to do both sides, because goals on both sides are extremely important, and accountability on both sides are extremely important. It's also why I've had 5 to 6 coaches at the same time, because they, like you said, different parts of my life needed different types of coaching. I think I'm back down to 4, but so some of them have stayed on just to be mentors. But yeah, I love that. I love that. Gareth, how's accountability helped you? Because I know I can sometimes hold Gareth accountable.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah. I would say so. I think there's actually a two-part on this, because it's definitely possible that it's not just, you don't need necessarily a specific person to hold you accountable, but you can have everybody hold you accountable. And it's really about something that's part of, I guess, a growth hack, which is fostering goodwill amongst the community. So don't be afraid to create that goodwill, because you are going to make mistakes. Inevitably, we're all human. We're going to make mistakes. And then instead of people approaching those mistakes of, oh, you didn't deliver, therefore you're bad, they approach it as in, hey, you didn't deliver, let's try and figure out a solution. And so, making sure that you're not approaching those situations negatively also helps a lot, and helps the person that's trying to hold you accountable stay positive in the scenario, right? Instead of feeling like they're kind of talking to a brick wall, because that's never what you want. So accountability for me, and how it's helped me, is just helps me discover areas where I'm lacking. And it's hard to admit, but having a different person, someone other than yourself, tell you an area that you might be struggling in, or that you're not, delivering in, helps me look into my own systems and be like, how can I now implement a solution so that that kind of problem doesn't happen again in the future, right? And try and, just continue that iterative process of improving my own business through the feedback I get from the mistakes I make, and then the feedback I get from those mistakes. So it's a bit of a different take than maybe you intended the question to be, but that's probably the most useful thing that being held accountable has done for me. Yeah.
No, I love that here, Gareth. Yeah, accountability means different things to different people, and I don't judge that. You have to do what works for you. So definitely,
Yes.
definitely, for sure. Mikey, come on in.
Yeah, just a bit of 2 cents worth for the audience, and for those who are somewhat struggling to understand which strategies or which avenues to pursue in terms of growth and the like. And a simple hack is sometimes, but just take this with a pinch of salt, is look at your competitors and your successful competitors or have managed growth over time, who are further along, how they have gotten there, or those that are your direct competitors in the market and revenue or turnover, and see what they are doing to grow and keep a growth. But I throw a huge amount of salt on all of this because it's not an idea, but if it's some idea to help give you an idea of what to look at. And obviously, look, every business is unique, so you got to look at your particular circumstances and all different factors. But if you completely lost or confused, sometimes just to get an idea of what could potentially work is looking at your competitors sometimes.
Yes, Mikey, for sure. Go ahead, Gareth.
Yeah, I want to just expand on that a bit, which is I definitely think that a lot of people start their business with the idea that they want to do it differently than their competitors, because a lot of what you hear is you need to be unique. But like what Mikey says, is the reason they work, right? They've already got their business going. It's running, and they're, let's say from the outside at least, successful. And so there might be reasons that you can't implement the things you're trying to implement, and that's why your business is struggling to move forward. So maybe the thing that you're trying to make unique doesn't work in the market that you're in. And so looking at those competitors to see why they're not implementing the solution that you think you can implement is really, really valuable. Yeah, I wouldn't try to beat them. I'd try and at least reach them. Yeah, and then see if the unique part can come in where you can differentiate yourself. So yeah, I like what you said there. It's definitely a good way, especially if you don't know which direction to move forward in. Yeah.
Yeah, I say also, looking in a South African context, but it applies globally. South Africa, overall our market is small in general compared to other countries. So, what works. And you're going to struggle or it will be a challenge to really create something new or a different avenue to outbeat or to beat your competitors, just because our market is generally on the small side. But not to say you shouldn't be motivated to try and outcompete them. But if you're completely lost, like I'm saying, it's a good place to start. Let's put it that way.
Thanks, Maggie, for sure. For sure. I want to look at the live audience. Okay, this is a good question, just popped up. What constitutes community support? Does it go beyond developing skills and social connections? So what makes a good community? Gareth, you go first.
I think I'm actually going to go back to what Peter said earlier, is it depends on what industry you're in, right? So it depends what your specific needs are, because not every community is going to work for every person. And just like Peter was saying about Explore ProTech not being the answer for everybody, you need to find a community that, like for the examples that you gave, maybe that's what you need in your community, but that's not necessarily what I need in my community, right? So you need to just find the community that does include those important aspects that you're looking for. So I guess the way that you might go about that is first define what you need, right? So do you need people to give you constructive feedback? Does the community you're trying to enter offer that kind of, constructive feedback? Do they talk often to each other? Do they have open channels of communication? But maybe you don't need feedback from the community and you're looking for something more of a support system on people viewing your social media, for example. So it's really just about what the community offers versus what your needs are. And also what you can offer the community. Because you can't just take, you have to give sometimes. Yeah.
I love that, Gareth. Okay, Peter's hand shot up so fast. Go for it.
I think I'll start off with a statement. If you ever find the perfect church, don't join it. You'll ruin it. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is ever perfect, and it was never meant to be perfect. So, to promote this space as the perfect space would be ridiculous, because it's not. But it's beautiful in its imperfection, and I think that's the and what Gareth said is extremely true. Look at what you actually need. It doesn't help that we present a space as this is what you need, when it might not be what you need. What you might need might be something completely different. So definitely take a look at what you need and why you need it and what you get from it. But then at the same time, communities are fickle creatures. If a community presents itself in a way that they go, we are the solution to this particular problem as a community, it doesn't mean you can join the community and then you're automatically just going to get the solution. It doesn't work that way. Communities take work. There's interaction involved. There's communication involved. There's meeting people involved. There's figuring out who people are and what are they strategically to you. And so there is an element of, if you're joining a community and you're expecting the community to be the hack for you, the answer is no, go be elsewhere. That it's not going to work for you. I've had conversations with people where they've stepped into a community space and then they go, this community is not doing what I need it to do. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, what do you need it to do? Okay, who have you been speaking to about that? Oh, no one. Then what did you expect? Like it just doesn't work that way. So communities cannot automatically just fix your problems. It's getting involved in the community that can help you to fix your problems. And if it's not helping you to fix your problems, then it's not the community that you should have been in the first place. You might have needed to be in a different space. And I think that's something that we've got to respect in regards to people and what they need. Because at the end of the day, a community is all about what does everybody need? And if we are not giving people what they need, then they need to go and get it somewhere else. Much the same as if they're somewhere else and they might need to come into this space to get what they need. It's a two-way street, but you've got to put in the effort. And when I mean effort, I don't mean arrive and give away your stuff. That's not don't do that ever in a community. It's about strategically meeting the right people, building the right relationships, having those relationships guide you to a very particular point that you want to be at. So put in the effort and then be strategic about who you're building into, what effort you're putting into them, what is the return of investment on that relationship. Because if there's no return of investment in a relationship, then what's the point of having the relationship? It kind of makes no sense. And does it diminish from the fact that it's a real relationship? No. No, because it just helps to build much stronger bonds with people that are building relationships with each other because they're driving each other into bigger, larger spaces, into bigger projects, larger clients, growth. And I think that's part of the hack. So please don't join a community and expect that the community is just going to fix your problems. It won't. It really won't.
So true. So true, Peter. That shouldn't be the reason. Really, it shouldn't be. It should be what are you going to give? Especially like you said, it's not all about taking, it's about giving too. So definitely want to give. Megan.
Thanks, Sondra. Sondra mentioned it, Gareth mentioned it, Peter mentioned it. I was just going to say, make sure that reciprocal value is there, right? Be prepared to give what you can into the space and receive what you can or need out of this space. So that's very important in my world, definitely. And then I think also just having a space where like-minded people, not necessarily people that think exactly as you do, but people that can also challenge you, but people, I think, more with shared values, so that in terms of how you approach things, how you see things, how you would assess things and circumstances, maybe that is something important. And then a place of safety, where you can feel like you can be vulnerable, where you can open up and say, I am having an issue. Haven't found the place or the person that can help me sort this out. And just, you will find your people within that space, but it takes you to put into it for you to take out, right? And then just an encouragement, especially to the igniters. Test the waters. I mean, when I remember in my first and second year, I think I was networking in about 6 or 7 different places per week. And I still network at these 3 or 4 different communities per week. And this has just been a core thing in my business because it's something I enjoy doing. But don't feel that you have to stick to one space, because you're certainly not going to get out of every place what you've gotten from the previous. And so I think a lot of us as new entrepreneurs think that we think we know what we need. And 1 year in, we've just realized that we need to upend everything and start almost from scratch. And so that's how your environment needs to grow with you, just like the growth hacking and, your approach to everything you do in your business. This needs to be assessed as well. So let's not forget about that.
I love that, Megan. I love that. That is why you need to do reviews, quarterly reviews. I can't say that enough. That's why I teach on it for life and for business. If you don't review, you do not know what the lessons were. You don't know how to apply them. You do not know what your wins are, and knowing your wins is extremely important, mentally and business, because you need to know where you're winning and what are you good at and what is going on. And hopefully you're developing new skills. So you want to be able to incorporate them. And if you wait 6 months, a year later, that skill may or may not apply anymore. So review is like probably the big word I can say, of course, because I firmly believe in that. And if you're not reviewing, then you're losing time. Really, you're losing time. And you review your communities and money. You review your accountability partners, your communities, your SOPs, your systems, your goals. Like, it's not just review one area. It's literally, that's right. There's workbooks for that. So, but yeah, I think I have like 8 areas in my workbooks. I can't remember off the top of my head, but for sure. Come on in, Gareth, and then we will take Mikey's question that's in the chat.
I was actually coming in to answer Mikey's question.
Okay, yeah. Can you read the question so everybody knows in the audience?
Yeah. So the question is, when one's efforts for growing or expanding haven't been effective, at what point should you consider seeking outside help? So yeah, it's a really good question. And I'm going to answer in 2 parts. So how I'd look at it is that if you're facing a problem, imagine it's a brick wall, right? And you have every tool on earth to break down this brick wall that's in front of you, but you don't necessarily know how to use all those tools. And the tools are then, for example, Google, right? Everything's just a Google search away. Information you need, it's a Google search away. But inevitably, there's going to be some tools over there that you don't know how to use. And if the tools you do know how to use, or you can kind of figure out, aren't breaking down the wall, then obviously it's a bigger wall than you think it is, and you need someone that knows how to use a bulldozer. So I would say, once you've done your, first try. Throw things at the problem to see, especially for a startup, throw things at the problem and try and see what works. But if nothing is working, like you're asking, if it hasn't been effective, then decide, I have put a good amount of effort into trying to fix this problem, but it's not working, and maybe it's time to get an expert. But I would say before then, ask your community. Ask your community, because 9 times out of 10, the people in there are willing to answer the questions for you. They're going to have those answers. But I would say only after you've asked the community and they don't know either, then maybe decide to hire an expert. But yeah, I guess a community would kind of be outside help. So yeah, I would say just try on your own. But if you're breaking yourself over the problem, just ask people. You don't need to be alone in the problem. Yeah.
I love that, Gareth. And experts can save you time and money, not just money. They can save you time. If you're spending, I had a mentor that said, if you spend more than 30 minutes on a problem, then you need to go ask for help. Like, your time is money, especially when you're a startup and you're new, to that. And this was, Google is my friend. I will tell you right now, I use Google to search for everything. And then when I can't figure it out, I go ask Gareth. Truth.
So I think naturally, with what Mikey was saying, you would have been putting efforts in, right? And you're going to know your audience better than anybody, because you're spending your time trying to understand your audience. You're spending your time, your service is built off of your potential audience's issues, right? You're trying to solve their problem. So in that way, you're going to know who they are better than any other expert. And so that's why I say try by yourself. I don't think necessarily 30 minutes, not to discredit what you said, Sondra, but not 30 minutes. But yeah, I would do the first part of what I was saying earlier in the video of, testing your systems, doing the A/B testing, trying to get organic search. And once you have all these systems in place and it's still not working, and you've done your testing and it's still not working, then I'd say try and get outside help, just to give a full-rounded answer to your question, Mikey.
Thank you. Peter, come on in.
Yeah, I'm just going to agree with what Gareth was saying, especially in regards to if the problem is a brick wall. take your time to throw things at the brick wall. Don't be too quick to run for help when you can figure certain things out on your own, because like we all know that when kids are born, they like to put things in their mouths. It's their process of learning, like, oh goodness me, this tastes great, or like, oh goodness me, I don't like that taste. Everything is a process of learning, and if you don't learn what doesn't work, you'll never learn what does. If you do get to the point where you do need outside help, then make sure, even though you're getting outside help, that you're still actually learning, because then the next time you come across a similar problem, sometimes some of the things that you may have thrown at the wall first may have actually worked. So it's all about going through a learning process. I think I'm a little bit lazy in regards to that learning process, because I tend to throw people at the wall, because those people have different skills and different skill sets. And from what I've learned is that I can rely on the people around me. So for instance, I had a problem with the Business Academy Cafe website. And what was my solution? Am I now going to go and learn how to build a website? No, I am not. So my solution, Gareth. But at the same time, Gareth was going through that process, and as he was showcasing what he had done and how he'd done it and why he'd done it, I was learning. So, every single thing is an opportunity to learn. So take it with both hands. And if you get to a point where you're stuck, that's kind of the point of having people around you that can unstuck you. 9 times out of 10 within a community, even if you are in a room with your entire community and you have a problem that none of them can solve, I guarantee you one person or a few people in that space that have been through a similar problem can direct you to the person that has solved that problem for them. So it's not necessarily just your community. It's about who are they connected to. And the more they know you and the more they know about the problem that you're having, the more they can strategically go, oh, you know what, I need to introduce you to this person. And that right there that's like liquid gold. Being introduced to the right people based on the fact that people actually really know you is golden.
I love that. I love that, Peter. Yes, that is why I keep a resource list and love having resources available over the last 5 years, and also why I check in with people quarterly that are in my resource list, because I want to make sure they're still doing those things, or maybe they have something new to do. And literally my Unstuck program came out of helping people with places they were stuck. So that's where that came from. Awesome. We're at the end of the show. Gareth, why don't you give us some last words, and then tell us what your business is.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so when you're talking about growth hacks for startups, I don't think hack is quite an interesting word, but with the things that we've spoken today, it really will feel like a hack. I think definitely a community is probably the largest growth hack, and just trusting that community, because it's very easy to go into a community and think that you know everything, but don't. There's a whole bunch of people, and they're just as smart as you, and they can help you just as much as you can help them. That's going to be probably the biggest thing anyone can take out of this is join a community that works for you, and that you can work with. And that's going to be the biggest thing you can do to growth hack. A/B testing and tracking your metrics and all of that comes secondary to just growing connections as a startup. Build a community, throw things against the wall until it works, because it's the time to make the mistakes. And that's, like Peter said, if you don't know what doesn't work, you won't know what will. So, yeah.
Love that. And tell us what your name of your company. I know the name, but you need to tell the audience the name.
We are Stitches Design. We build websites that are functional and brands that are beautiful.
Awesome. Love it, Gareth. Thank you so much for joining us today. We want to give a shout out to Miss Susan, who does our scheduling on YouTube. If you ever want to know what shows are coming up. If you go under the live button on YouTube, it will show you the ones that are scheduled and what week they're scheduled for. So you can share that before the show and invite people. I don't mention that very often, and I need to do better at that. Susan also turns the show into a podcast. So we are on Spotify. So definitely give us a listen and give us a rating. Yeah, after you listen to so many shows, you can actually rate us, and then that will get us out to more people. Yeah, and my name is Sondra, and I help get your goals done by creating bite-sized action plans and hold you accountable. Peter, I will let you wrap up the rest.
Awesome. Before I do wrap up, Sondra, your quarterly review workshop space that we consider a hack within our own space, would you please put that link into the description of this show?
Yes.
Just so that other people can experience it. And can we also link Gareth into the description of the show? Because Gareth was my hack at one point in time, so he might as well be your hack too. And then for the Ignite students, the hashtag, the code or the password is going to be hashtag live, learn, grow. You can just link them all together and make them one word, hashtag live, learn, grow. Reach out to Somerville. Well, you guys know what to do. Reach out to Somerville, tell her what you've learned on this particular show, share the show, and then reach out to say that you have done that and let her know what you learned. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I will close off with the famous words from Nastine Botha, which is, may all your wildest entrepreneurial dreams come true.
See you same place.